Hello everybody, and welcome again to Dream Radio. So today on our program, I'd like to introduce a strange and interesting suggestion, something provocative for you. It is time to invent a new world. So that is really what this video is going to be about. But in order to make you understand, I will introduce this the way that I introduce this to some friends of mine. So there's a lot of interesting talk on strange corners of the internet, and I always like to look on the strangest corners of the internet because that's where people are inventing and creating a lot of the most interesting new ideas that you will be hearing about in the normie spheres several years down the line. Much like the New York Times now looks like 2011 Tumblr or something. Well, who knows? Anyway, forget that little thing. It's like that, but cool, let's say. That, but based. So, you see people discussing strange, alternative, secret, mythological societies that, may or may not have been real. Thinking about like the Atlanteans in the city of Atlantis, or the Hyperboreans, the ancient Arctic peoples, high spirituality, potentially the people who wrote the Vedas. Who knows? I mean, who knows? A lot of this stuff seems made up, but the important idea is that there's this like fantasy about completely different societies that may exist, or other people are fantasizing about or talking about an ancient people who live under Ireland and are waiting to come out, something like this. The dark side of this mode of fantasization is this conspiratorial suspicion about like the lizard people. The Hillary Clinton's actually an alien and Barack Obama is like a reptilian monster in human clothing, and these kind of suggestions of these different societies and so on. And it's a funny thing, you ask why all these imaginings and why now? Well, I will tell you. So the friends who were initially bringing this up with me were throwing a question mark on it, wondering, well, I noticed this, but what's the deal? But I'll tell you what the deal is, and that is that people are looking around them, and I'm not going to drag out all the topics again. We're going to say we drag out these topics sometimes, but we don't drag them out all the time. But the point is that right now, apparently it seems that all mainstream ideologies and institutions are failing in some way that appears catastrophic. So none of the institutions seem to make sense anymore. None of the ideologies seem to make sense anymore. And these institutions and ideologies are essentially the foundation for society. And what that means is that the things that are the foundation for society, that are directing our social lives, our behaviors, how we interact with each other, how we manage our resources with each other, all these things aren't working anymore. So it's like, what the fuck do you do? And some people say that you can fix them, but I don't think you can fix them because it's too complicated to go in there. People don't even really know what's wrong with them to begin with, but it would be like fixing these things would be like, instead of demolishing a termite-ridden house and starting over, would be to go in there with a pair of tweezers and to pick out every single termite instead, which I don't think will work. And so whatever, I just don't think it can be saved. Maybe listen, if you can think of a way to save it, I'm very happy about that, and go ahead, and I wish you luck, and even I may support you in that, but I don't believe in it. And so what does that mean if these structures that essentially make the foundations for our society and social life aren't working anymore? And these structures are our ideologies and our cultural and political institutions and corporate institutions. Then what that means is that essentially like almost everything of the world that you occupy is bad. Now, so what does that mean? Like I said, that means that it is time. It is time to invent a new world. Okay, so a bit of a strange thing to say. It seems like a big job. And I don't want to make you think that it's such a big job that you can't do it, because I will add a little bit of nuance to that statement, or a little bit of hope to that statement, in the following manner. So, yes, it's time to make a new world, but that sounds like a lot of work. Well, here's the thing. There still remains one level upon which you still have complete freedom and latitude, and that is the layer of your personal close relationships with people that you have a high and strong level of trust with. So So, what you must do now is create these new worlds that I have been discussing, but only on the small scale. It's like this. It seems like there's some kind of weird totalitarian maximalist ideology taking over everything, but it's not taking over. Well, it is taking over some of your personal relationships, but it's not taking over the relationships where you still have the most trust, or at least you can find those areas of your life where you have the most trust, and within there you have perfect and full and complete latitude. That's number one. And so what that means is that, like, your close relationships with people are now almost the most important. Well, they always were the most important thing that you ever had. And so it's time to remember that. That's number one. So that's number one. That world that I was discussing there, you must get control of it. It's crucial that you get control of it. That's the first thing. That's the number one. Number two is to notice within that statement is another little insight, which is that, you know, there are actually different sizes of worlds. There's different sizes of worlds. There's also different locales. So you can create, you know, the way that things truly work in real life is there are many different worlds within worlds. You know, there's the corporate world, there's the family world, there's your church, there's whatever. But the internet, now this is where things get interesting. The internet creates a massive proliferation of potential for the production of new worlds. And within this comes the sort of little creative, narrative, mythological idea of the portal into a different realm. You know, our classic example is The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. In the Chronicles of Narnia, you have all these kids who are staying with their strange, mysterious uncle, and they're walking around on his very large estate. And one of the girls hides in a wardrobe, some strange, innocuous, but nice-looking wardrobe, and she wanders inside and she sees, holy fuck, it's not a bunch of clothes, now I'm in like a strange magical forest. How do you like that? And then they have a crazy adventure. Or you have Alice in Wonderland. And in Alice in Wonderland, she falls down a rabbit hole. And what does she find on the other side of the rabbit hole? An entirely different world. And so, that's pretty interesting. Haven't we been hearing so much about all the different rabbit holes online? Well, yes, we have. And the reason is, again, the same recognition that the internet is allowing for the creation of new worlds, and people are doing that. So it's time to make a new world, and that's how you do it. And I suppose that's what I'm trying to do, although I'm not that great at it yet, but we'll get there, and then one day there will be a new world for you to find and to come and see. I guess the one critique of the online rabbit holes is that oftentimes they're too political. I don't think you can create like a full vision of the future that is just on that like literalist political perspective that people get stuck in, and I think that's bad for you. So I would say that's a problem, but other than that, just think about the potential. Just as long as you try to maintain a certain more of an aesthetic proclivity or something like that. So anyway, you can create a new world. And isn't that a magical thing? Isn't that a magical thing? And it's happening all around you. So this is what I would say. I would say to all people who are posters online, who are, you know, trying to post, I would say this. The highest aspiration for a poster, for an online guy, the highest aspiration for an online guy is to be when some curious, you know, someone who's stuck in normie land who needs to find their way out somehow, or there's part of them that's starting to say, things are a bit strange here, or in some way their mind is starting to open up and is becoming ready for new information, or they're becoming curious. When they step through that wardrobe, when they fall down that rabbit hole, the ideal, the aesthetic ideal for a poster, for an online fella like you and I, is that you are the people that they find on the other side. The ideal for you and your gang, this group of people, is those who you can trust, is that's you. It's you guys. You're the ones who are on that other side who are like, hey man, listen, this whole world you're in now is different than the one that you were in before, and there's different rules, and we say different things, and we appear like different, and all this kind of stuff. And that's the highest ideal. And the last thing I would say to cap it all off, the fascinating thing for me. So, isn't it funny? Isn't it a strange thing to observe the degree to which... Isn't it funny seeing all these articles online being like, the dangers of online rabbit holes. Oh, the danger of such and such person falling down a rabbit hole. And it's like, come on. Isn't Alice in Wonderland an exciting story about somebody being able to satisfy like a thirst for adventure and curiosity by finding a fantastical new land that violates their expectations and understandings in order that, you know, they see things differently? Isn't this an exciting thing? But all the fuddy-duddies, all the liberals who are they like to see themselves as the hippie kind of cool people who are like, we want to open your mind, man. They're like, hey, we're the people who are trying to open up everybody's mind, and we're so creative and interesting. But it's like, then why are you screaming and complaining about rabbit holes? Why are you doing this? That's ridiculous. So there you have it. Very exciting, very interesting. I hope that I have sparked a few ideas in the minds of you, dear viewer. And if that's the case, then that's very pleasing to me. Other than that, that's all that I have to say for today. And I thank you very much for watching. And I appreciate you. And I hope that things go well for you. And I wish you luck. I wish you much good luck in life. And thank you very much. And I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
This is crazy. I don't even know this cat. I'm out here. And some cat just came over, started rubbing up against me. I'm out here like in the park. Anyways, rubbing up against me. Everybody knows I'm sweet and good.